Hello, world. I'm the one and only Chat Queen coming to you live from Chat Queen Studios. How is everyone today? So, I've had a really long week. I was really hoping, I was really hoping to have some people on today, but they ended up not joining. And that's fine because I can understand because of the circumstances why they didn't join.
That's because that's a very interesting conversation.
It's a very
It's
interesting
very
conversation.
interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to give them time to think about if they're ready for the world to know.
I want to talk about it though.
We can talk about it now.
Oh,
We can talk about we can prelude to it. We can prelude to it.
So do you want me to tell you my story?
Yes, please tell the
Okay.
story.
So on the weekends, I'm gonna start in the middle of my week. Well, the end of my weekend because it's almost over. But because I can tell you about my weekend, that's a whole conversation.
Ooh, child.
But I'll start there. I had walked into this place out in Brookfield somewhere, way, 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 way out, far, 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 far away from where I'm used to. And I mean,
Like you talking about far enough where like things change color?
yeah,
Okay.
basically. And I got there and I was feeling away. And I was just figured I needed some alone time, having myself something to drink and eat. And um interesting, I saw this beautiful couple sitting over across from me, and um oh my god, I want them here so bad. But they were sitting across from me, and the lady was so beautiful, and she wanted, to buy me something. And she's like, you know what, I want to pay something on what you're doing right now, so you can have a good evening. You seem like you know might need a friendly gesture or something. And I was like, you know what, thank you, that was really nice coming from another black woman. I just thought that was so beautiful. And then we ended up talking. She came over and she said, my friend is interested in you.
Oh my.
And I was like, oh, okay. And okay. And I said, well, I'm married. And, I said, but that was nice. I said, but why? Can I ask you a question? Why are you telling me about him when you, you mess, you guys maybe doing something too? And she said, well, we doing something. And I said, well, you are. And we ended up getting into a really nice, good, deep conversation. It turns out, that one of them, they had their one of them was already into a marriage or something, and another one of them was doing something. And she said, well, we became really good friends, and this type of thing is happening. And I wanted really to get really intimate with them and talk to them more about how does this thing develop and how you get into a relationship.
Oh, they want to get intimate with you, all right.
That's why I would much rather have them on because, you know, these were good looking people, good looking, noble looking people. It wasn't like just strange people. You know what I mean?
Were they both of African American descent?
I won't go there.
Okay.
But they were really, really good looking people. You would never think anything bad, and I still don't.
No, only reason I ask that is sometimes it's a cultural thing where certain cultures allow some of those kind of activities to occur. We were recently having a conversation the other day about how in some cultures, if you can afford more than one wife, you can have more than one wife. And being the fact that you were in the distant area, we don't know how that culture moves.
I don't know that I can agree with you on that being a cultural thing.
I'm just throwing it
out. The reason why is because I think everything is happening in every culture now. This day and age. I don't feel like a specific culture is turning any pineapples upside down or anything like that. I feel like everybody is doing the same.
That's the name of this episode, Turning Pineapples Upside Down.
but I initially wasn't going there.
I know.
My whole point of discussion is that I feel like us, especially women, we want to know what draws that, what brings
The boys to the yard.
the boys to the yard. It ain't just the milkshake, I'm telling you.
It's definitely more than that. The milkshake, in so many words, is honestly just the dessert of it, but it's always more than just that, though. Intimacy is a dying art in today's society, unfortunately. So a lot of times people will go into a marriage or a long-term relationship, and what they yearn for from it wasn't there in the beginning, but there was so many other qualities that was good enough to make us say, I still want to be here.
Mhm.
But then as time goes on, and those other qualities, they're still there. They're just not as fulfilling as they used to be.
But what keeps it exciting? It's so
The
many things
effort.
going around these days. You can't be doing that.
You can't be doing that because I'm not going to lie to you. Every year, there's something new that's knocking us off. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are just not being to themselves as they should be, in a nice way of putting it.
What does that mean? Don't put it nice.
Oh, well, if people would just stop sleeping around, in so many words, okay?
Mhm.
If you would just, you are with this person, you only sleep with that person, the likelihood of you contracting something from somebody else goes down tremendously, because you can't get nothing from him if you're not sleeping with him. If you're only sleeping with your husband and you both are taking care of yourself, the only fear that you guys should ever have is a pregnancy. Okay?
Mhm.
It's the only thing you should have. But if you are entertaining Richard at the other
Why
end
is
of the
that a
bar,
fear?
huh?
Why is pregnancy a fear?
Because if you're not sleeping around, there should be no diseases coming into the process,
Right.
correct?
Yeah. Oh, you were still talking about that. Okay.
Yeah. Pregnancy should be the only thing that you two should worry about, because let's be honest, if y'all married, why are y'all still wrapping it up?
Right.
But
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. Now, birth control, different story. But wrapping it up completely, you shouldn't be at that point.
But what I'm saying is, what makes any person want to? Because I guess I would understand more if I was
in that situation,
yeah,
kind of, yeah.
because I've never been in that situation. But what it was just so crazy to me, and I can a little bit say it's a little exciting.
It can be exciting. A lot of times people only do it to fill in gaps.
Not exciting for me to join. Let me clear that up. I mean, it was more exciting to hear and how open and honest these people were. Or anybody, because I told you before, I saw this happen before.
You'll see it happen more than you'll know. There'll be some situations where you'll see two people together and you will think they're the couple, like they're the penultimate couple in this scenario. In actuality, they're literally the side relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with like they don't love the person that's at home. It just may be what's at home is not fulfilling them anymore.
Is that not love?
Not really.
Oh, really?
No, it's not. Like, I could literally be madly in love with the person at home, and because this individual in this moment could be heavenly work driven, that quality time, that intimacy, that literally just doing regular mundane stuff together could be missing. This individual could be going to school, getting their doctorates, working at a very heavy orientated job. Like, it's literally taking everything from them. But because of their goals that they're working, I'm a second or third option. So it's not that I don't love that person, but I'm having something missing. Then all of a sudden I have a coworker, and this coworker has nothing to do. It's a Friday night. Hey, come out and hang out with us. I come out and I hang out with them because I need this social interaction, because I'm not getting it from at home, and not for a bad reason. Because remember, I still love this person at home. They just can't give me what I need. So I am socially interacting with somebody else
Socially.
socially. But let's keep it a buck. A lot of these situations start off as social interactions. And as you start to realize your mate at home doesn't have time for you, regardless of whatever the reason is, this individual does.
Mm-hmm.
So it may just be a friendly hanging out, spending time, getting to know each other, having conversation, starting to have inside jokes now because y'all experience stuff together. This person is now becoming the gap that's being filled. So
How in your mind has to be able to be ready to experience that, be open to experiencing
True.
that. What takes you there?
What
like
takes you there?
have to be able to have some type of.
In the beginning, I guarantee you, in most cases, there's a lot of barriers and lines that are put up. Okay, think of it as an individual whose husband just went to jail, but they're only doing 2 years. You know they'll be home soon,
Mm-hmm.
and this is your husband, so you're not going to throw the whole relationship away because you just got to survive 2 years, maybe less, and they're home, right? But what do you do during that 2 years when they're away?
Keep yourself busy.
You try to as much as possible. You do. Let's keep it. You try to as much as possible. And I'm not talking from a sexual standpoint because today's society is so hypersexual. The first 2 or 3 times that they don't get a nut off, they're going to be one to say, "Ooh, I need to find somebody." But just overall, just dealing with life, you don't want to deal with it alone. So if you have that individual who's at least there to be a support system for you, you're not going to want to let that go.
If you have somebody that you're into and you love them, that saying, I don't mind is the devil's workshop.
Big facts.
So if you're not busy, then you're more open to even think about those things that it's not really that important in my mind. If there's not enough time, plan a vacation with your significant other. Take them out on a small walk and let them know how you're feeling.
But if that significant
try to go back to,
if that significant other is not giving you the time that you need, or they're not able to make these alterations that you need because whatever they're doing is also for the greater good of the family, what do you do? What do you do if the husband has that job that takes him to another city and he's gone months at a time? Now, the end goal is because you're now going to build a better life in the new city, but he's gone 3 months at a time, back 1 month, gone another 3.
I think it all boils down to consistency and the whole saying of happy wife, happy life. I think there's a perspective missing here.
Okay.
When it comes down to men and women. I don't think men fully understand women. I don't think women fully understand men. And I think it's important to try to understand because that's what brings the narrative that this is what we must do in order to fulfill ourselves without thinking about the other person.
Right.
If you're gone for 3 months at a time, before you leave, you make sure your household is straight. Before you leave, you make sure that time is spent with your family. You're going to be gone for 3 months working. You will be working. You'll get to the work. But before you leave, you should be taking care of home.
Okay.
On your way outside of the plane ride, you should be calling home, making sure your family is okay, making sure your wife is good, making sure the kids have eaten, making sure the refrigerator is full, making sure the garbage is all taken out and prepared to be ready to whatever when you get home.
Okay.
Everything should be in place as all the male duties.
Okay.
And some things I'm not going to speak on the radio or Instagram, but there's just so many things that should be taken care of at home. And we know those things are missing. Those voids are there when you leave. Those are some of the things women look at. Now, I'm not saying that every woman is going to cheat because of that. But if you're doing that often enough, then you're leaving her available as well.
Not saying that they're not.
You're leaving her as available. Now, on the man's side of it, the way we would look at it is, if we're cooking, making sure everything is clean, the typical every day, let's make sure this is done type stuff.
Right.
When we have obligations when it comes down to our relationship and our marriage or what have you as well. those obligations, and sometimes these days you can't look at stuff as forever.
Right.
You're not gonna be together forever these days. It can't happen. And even like back in the days, we had this discussion before on one of the shows, how our grandparents and great great grandparents and great 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 grandparents in their marriages, they took a lot of stuff.
The world was different back then.
The world was different back then. And now it's like, okay, nobody's together forever. We're open to doing this. We're open to doing that. We're open to doing all kinds of different things because I'm not going to be with you forever anyway. Nobody sees forever anymore.
Yes and no.
And that's what takes away the consistency.
No one sees forever as long as there's options presented. I don't like to put blame on social media for everything because at the end of the day, you're still a human and you need to be accountable for your own actions. But social media does play a large factor in the fact that people do not see value in long-term relationships anyway.
Be strong-minded. That's so simple-minded to me.
No. Keep it a buck. As long as people have a way to vent, and people tend to use social media for that purpose, you'll go on certain social media applications and all day you will just see people voicing their negative situation in their relationship. So before you even get an opportunity to attempt to jump out into the dating world to find your own mate, you already have a preconceived notion of what's expected. I can log on Facebook and at least 3 times a day, I will see someone saying the dating pool has pee in it or something along that nature, where men is this or women is that, and nobody values long-term. And more importantly, no one has marriage as part of their equation anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you've eliminated the thought process of marriage because the world keeps giving you these, social media keeps giving you these negative clues that marriage is a waste of your time.
But it's still so simple-minded. I can look on social media right now, go on social media into many different pages, and I'll see men in their pages, either they're barely on there, married men, either they're number one, barely on there, and they post a picture here and there. Not even that you're married. You can be in a long-term relationship. That deserves respect as well. But what I'm saying is I can go on pages and you will not be able to detect that this man has a wife.
Oh, I'm not finger pointing, but there's definitely women out there that do the same thing. Y'all actually do it more to the point that men technically need to reprogram their thought process to assume that the woman has somebody first before you assume that she's single, because they will have a whole relationship and you will not know that they were in a relationship until they're now posting the engagement ring.
Right.
Okay.
If you ever see the ring.
If you even see the ring. And usually when they post the engagement ring, it's to stop the 1 or 2 guys who they knew that they were stringing along from trying to get into the scenario and leave them alone. Or they'll pop up was like, well, I didn't want to say nothing, but since he'll be here in a month, I'm pregnant. And it's like, when were you even letting people touch you on the inside to begin with?
Right. So, that's now, see, oh my goodness. You know what? This is just something else because, and this takes me back to a conversation I was having about a week ago. And I said, this is so juicy. It needs to be on Chatty Queens. And I was talking to this young man and he was going back and forth about the man's perspective and a woman's perspective when it comes down to the baby mamas and why we do the things we do. I'm not a baby mama, but you know.
No, you're not.
You
don't. But before we go any further, let me clarify. Baby mama and baby daddy is an energy, not a state.
Okay.
Okay. Now, being a child's mother or a child's father, that is what we are in most cases. But that baby mama and that baby daddy, that is literally just ignorancy at its finest.
I agree.
Okay. Well, make sure we're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
Keep so to his point, he said, why do women take the baby and be using it as this and using it as that? And why do I said because how sometimes men go a little crazy and start acting obnoxious and obsessive, and you know, men really, from our perspective, really want to do things that they don't want you doing. I've seen it happen over and over and over again, inside and outside. And he said, "You guys take the baby, and you don't want to." And I said, to my point, because I've been there before, long time ago. I have, I've been in a situation where I didn't want my children to be around a specific person, because if you can treat me a certain way, I don't want my kids around you.
Okay.
So you can take that and say it's because of me. You're mad at me. If sometimes it's more comfortable if you're in a relationship, even though it can be toxic, you're there with your children. But when you break up, it's not always bitter. If you can treat me a certain way and I have to leave and I don't feel safe and comfortable around you, I'm taking my kids away from around you as well at all costs.
I see that POV, and I can agree with you that that is some scenarios. But I've also seen some scenarios where the woman does use the child as a tool. That man, because you got to remember, not every child was produced out of love. Okay. There are some lustful babies out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
The result of just a night of, what you doing? You still up? Okay. I think what happens in certain situations, and this is the male perspective on these type of situations, he has made the executive decision that having a relationship with you is not going to work.
Okay.
Even though we have this kid together, me and you, we're just not going to work. Okay. Regardless of whatever it is. So I've opted to not want to be in this relationship, but I still want to be a father to my child. Therefore, while making this decision, I did find somebody who was more conducive for me, someone who works with me, someone who's more compatible with me. You are unhappy with the fact that I easily moved on. Therefore, you're making this co-parenting situation way more difficult than it needs to be. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're worried or concerned of how I'm going to be with my child. And it has nothing to do with you're worried about what she is going to be like around my child. You are holding a resentment of bitterness towards me because I chose her, not you.
Well, that comes with, and I agree to some extent, because I've seen that happen. I feel like black men have it a whole lot harder with that. I have to say that. And that's one of the things I try my best not to ever do. But if I feel like my kids are unsafe, that's a different story.
And I understand, if you truly feel, regardless of if it was the kid was conceived out of love or lust, if you truly feel the environment that this child would be in is not safe for the kid, go right ahead and do what you need to do. Let him know that this is the reason why you're doing it. That way it gives him the opportunity to try to improve the scenario. But when you was like, my baby ain't coming over there no more, and you're not giving us the opportunity to correct the scenario, then that falls back on her too.
I believe that.
I understand, but you got to be more, your communication skills has to improve when you're co-parenting.
I believe that co-parenting has to come with some type of counseling.
I think parenting should come with counseling.
Parenting should come with counseling. And the reason being, especially in our culture
needs a lot of therapy, period. And counseling, because we have old habits that need to go away, that has been ingrained in our family, and just the simple fact that today's society is not the same. Parenting is not the same. Just raising kids in general is not the same. We grew up in a society where you don't let them folks in your business. Now them folks is in our business for everything. You can't say these folks can't be in our business, but then you're using government assistance.
That's true.
You say it's like you can't,
mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you can't let somebody else dictate how you raise your kids. You have to have more input in regards to it. Dropping your baby off at daycare or relying on the school system to properly educate your kids is only going to get them so far.
That's true.
And we don't, as parents in the African American community, collectively, we don't put forth an effort to do that.
It's a whole that's a whole nother discussion. That's a whole nother discussion. but going back to why we allow people to get into our relationships and why we so easily do those things. I feel like back to my point what I was saying before about consistency. And when people lose interest in one another, I feel like you should be on an up and up right away and say, look, this is not working. This is something that we're not going to do. Be an adult about it and move on. If you still are to the point where you have to continue going back and forth and arguing, or you're being toxic around your children and your significant other, that's the time to go. Why try to hold on to something that's just not going to work? Also, in addition to that, is if you need a third person in your relationship, why not just be with that third person?
That's because today's society is not truly ready to accept polygamy as an alternative. Today's society, once again, is hypersexual. So they only look at the third as being in the equation for bedroom purposes. But they don't look at the third as being the other level of support. They don't look at the third as that individual who is helping balance out this household. If we go with the old traditional 80-20 scenario where he's the breadwinner and she's the provider, well, what if that third comes in and helps in regards to the load of the 80? So now the 80 is 40-40-20. Or what if the load is now 30-30-30? Now it's a more conducive situation. What if the third is a woman? Because in most situations it is. This day and age, that's more acceptable.
That's more acceptable.
More acceptable. Let's say it like that. More acceptable. That woman now has a sisterhood with you. Now the household can be taken care of equally. The child rearing can be done conducively. Just in general, the mental health of everybody can be more balanced out. The level of communication. Now there's a democracy here.
Do you believe in that?
Do I believe in polygamy?
Yeah.
It's a workable scenario for me. Yes.
You do?
It's a workable scenario for me.
You think you can love two women?
Yes.
Get off my show. No, I'm just playing.
And it's crazy because this is not the first time I've been involved in this type of conversation. And I always get the same reaction from most women. There are a lot of women who said, no, they couldn't do it. They're selfish. They want to keep things to themselves. I personally feel like love is universal. There's more than one type of love. Okay? We think and look at love from a romantic aspect, but when you look at what intimacy truly is, it can be shared with anybody.
No.
It can.
No.
And that's why this type of lifestyle is not, that's why the up-down pineapple is not good for everybody.
I feel like, to be honest with you, and this could be debatable, I honestly feel like a lot of women, because I know how I feel as a woman, I feel like a lot of women will just go ahead with it because they have low self-esteem.
Not necessarily true.
I believe that. I don't think that every woman a lot of women, a majority of women that is involved in that type of relationship, I don't believe that they're willingly as a whole being true to themselves.
And
because we're territorial.
Y'all
we like to have our own.
Y'all can be very territorial, but we also live a day and age where sexuality is a spectrum, meaning that the level of attraction for women more than anything has become so fluid. A woman can be in love with another woman and another man simultaneously. And that romantic love can be identical. We tend to accept that more often because a woman can be with another woman and that man can sit back and was like, ooh, nice. And it's okay because at the end of the day, his woman is still here with him. which is why I feel like the polygamous lifestyle could actually work when everybody is open-minded to it, because
Everybody has to be.
and I think that's the problem. You have couples where one is and one isn't. And then what ends up happening is the one that's into it pushes the narrative to the point that the relationship, when it does have this moment of strain, that person gives into that narrative saying, okay, well, if I just let them do this, maybe all this time they keep pushing it, it does work. Or maybe it is a good thing. But then that person who's been pushing for it controls the narrative of how the relationship works. So here's this woman that has came into the relationship. And even if the woman brought it into the relationship, instead of letting it blossom where all three parties have now created a bond and a friendship, it's like two complete strangers who can't do nothing outside of what the other person says. And that's how a lot of people are living in that. Whereas in a true polygamous person, number one, both parties have invited this woman into the scenario. Not just the bedroom, but the whole relationship.
But you got all these fights happening now.
You got these fights.
Nothing's ever going to be normal.
Normality is different this day and age, no matter how you look at it. Because what is normal? What is
not
normal?
Arguing and being toxic.
Taking consideration the society perpetuates toxicity as a norm.
It's not normal.
When you look on TV,
no, it's not normal.
Think about it. Reality TV perpetuates toxicity on a daily basis. And every day we turn around, new TV shows and new networks are popping up, clearly built around reality shows. So people are starting to believe you have to have a little bit of toxicity in your relationship or else it's not healthy now. And I wouldn't believe that until I actually heard some group of people
said a little bit.
Toxicity shouldn't be there, period.
Exactly, because it's not normal, right?
But it's became normal. I apologize. It's became acceptable.
Right. I said normal.
Okay. That's why I have to stop and correct
myself. Abnormal. Anything abnormal is not supposed to be. It's not a thing. And that's why I said when you bring something into your relationships, and it can be something we can make this comparable to something like killing. It happens so prominent now. It's so prominent now to a point where can we say it's acceptable?
No.
Okay. So why are we so apt to accept another person just so you can have sex with this third person?
But that's the mistake that people make. People look at the sex with the third person as the number one reason, and it's not. Sex with the third person is just because sex is normal in relationship. It's not the reason for the relationship. Because if you only want to have sex with the third person, why build a relationship with them and not just have a hookup buddy that you call when you guys want to have a little bit extra fun tonight? That's completely different. But that's what people think that type of relationship is based upon. If you look at the reason why a regular relationship exists to begin with, okay, then you add the third person to that same reason. The whole reason why the original couple that you spoke to exists is because if they would have had an open dialogue, whereas in the significant other at home, the gentleman and the woman all in this conversation had one big conversation together about what's happening, they would be in a legitimate poly relationship. And you seen how happy those two were together. That whole relationship would have been a good one. But based on the fact that she came over to introduce you to him, there's more to their story. But in most cases, that's exactly what it is. It's all three of us have something we like and want from each other that brings all three of us happiness.
But if she's coming over, let's just look at it from this point of view. Okay. And I'm not saying that is true. Yeah. But if she's coming over and she wants to please that man, and she has low self-esteem and she want to do everything to make him happy, and he's like using that mind control, saying this is what we must do in order for me to have you to have me and us to be happy. I want to be able to have what I want. And that's how I look at that. I don't know if you see that show, The Evolution, where Jamie and Lacey, those two women,
Sounds familiar, but continue.
and they I think Jamie was married to the guy first and then Lacey came in.
That sounds about right.
Yep. And I don't agree. I think he loved that lady Lacey
He might.
more. Why it's so it has to be so disgusting for his ex-wife or whatever they got going on. It has to be disgusting. I couldn't sit there and watch that.
Okay, let's stop right here for a minute.
You can see the intimacy. You can see the love there. You can see.
Let's stop right here for a minute. You are looking at that scenario from the outside looking in with your interpretation of a relationship, meaning that you're looking at it from what you deem is the way a person's relationship should be. So when you look at Lacey and him, and then him and the other woman,
Jamie, the other woman, everybody remember
Lacey.
No,
I only say because I'm not good with names. If it's not a name I say all the time, I don't remember because that's the last thing you said. That's the last name you said. That's why she started. I didn't even remember his name.
I don't remember his name either.
All right. So
what was his name?
See, I just said Lacey because it's the name you said. You said Jamie, you said Lacey, and I didn't know if Jamie was a dude because I know a dude named Jamie. Okay. All right. So we got that correct.
Okay.
So the woman is Jamie, the other one's Lacey. You see the way him and Lacey behave as a type of level of intimacy that you are familiar with, and it's probably the type of intimacy you want. You do not recognize the level of intimacy that him and Jamie has. Therefore, you deem that as less love. But what they do may not be. She may be getting exactly what she wants from him and what is content and happiness to her. Whereas in Lacey may be giving him what he wants collectively, which recognizes as the kind of love you want. So it doesn't mean that he loves Jamie less than he loves Lacey. It just means that what she does with Lacey is more of what you want from your relationships. Because it does. Because the reason why I can say like that is my child's mother is not an intimate person. She is not an outwardly expressive person with her feelings. Okay. Therefore, if you ever see us interact together, most of the time you would swear up and down we're just good friends who co-parent like a boss. You would not think that there is a full-blown relationship there that has had years upon years on top of it. But you could see me out and about with a best friend, and because we have a connection that is conducive to an actual long-term marriage, you would swear up and down me and this person is doing something on the side because of how we're openly expressive towards each other. Does not mean that I don't love one less or more than the other based on our behavior. It's based on how we receive and give love to each other. The way me and my children's mother interact with each other is identical and perfectly fine to what she grew up and accepted as an example of a relationship. So it doesn't mean that it's bad. But if society's seen it on TV and its rawest form, most people will be like, how do y'all two even know each other?
But that would be just looking at you and her. I'm talking about bringing somebody into your marriage. And then all of a sudden, because they show pictures and stuff of them before this all happened.
Right.
When they went into polygamy and all of that. It wasn't like that all the time. But him and Jamie had more of a relationship.
Right.
They were smiling, happy, close, had a bond. Now that Lacey's there, you don't see any of that. And I'm not the only one that has that opinion.
Of course, everybody has it.
We can all see it. And he says things about it. He's like, everybody think I love Lacey more. You do. So why not just, if you're going to be open on social media about your life and talk about it and have everybody looking at you, be honest.
Let me ask you a question. What if Jamie said, the way we are is what I like and I'm comfortable where we are? Would that change everything? If
No,
the third,
because you can see in her face that
but if
that's
she,
not no.
but see there, right there.
I'm a woman. I can see.
But I love what you did right there because y'all have a nasty habit of doing this. If a woman states this is what it is and she is content with it, y'all will immediately be like, nah, that can't be true.
No.
Because
she does not want her husband sleeping with another man in her face. Somebody she's been like, no. And for her to stick around with him, that's just crazy. Like, I've been married. I know. And for somebody to come in, like, even if we had an open relationship or whatever, and I'm not, that's what people keep saying. Are you bisexual, Jamie? Are you? And she clearly does not portray to be that. So if that's not true, something's wrong. And I feel like it's a low self-esteem issue. People say different things probably about her teeth, and they've said that openly. So I feel comfortable saying that they're all
they're on TV. Everything is going to be
I really do feel like they're on TV. So I don't feel uncomfortable talking about it. People are going to have all type of opinions and be biased about whatever it is that they're doing. This is just my opinion. And from what I can see, Jamie is not happy with that. Lacey seems happy. She seems content. She seems like she's getting all the vitamin D.
Is that Jamie's fault for not speaking up, though?
No, because if you have a low self-esteem and a man is taking advantage of that, then that's different. If you have a low self-esteem from a woman's perspective, and I've seen it happen over and over and over again, some of us can say, no, I'm not doing that. It's either me or nothing. Some women are like, this is basically what I'm going to have. This is basically what I deserve. In order for me to keep my husband happy, I'm going to have to do this.
Then I feel like...
And then they get days. They get days.
That's what
you get half the week. You get...
But that is what they agreed upon.
It's because of that. No.
Okay. One of the things about this particular lifestyle is in order for it to truly be an adequate equal thing, is it has to be an open level of communication where everybody's input matters. Now, it could be because it's the TV show and you got to create drama in order to make people want to stay and watch it. It could be that she could be portrayed a certain way or be edited a certain way to make it look like she's the lesser of the two. Who knows? It's a TV show. Okay.
But I know they're having problems behind that.
Everybody has problems, period.
Yeah.
Okay, at the end of the day, everybody has problems. But the one thing I've noticed is when you agree to do a TV show, you agree to a certain contract, and certain people stick it out until the contract is done. Now, when the show is over and they're able to speak freely, at that point in time, you may get a side from Jamie where she said that technically she may have checked out long before TV was even in the picture. Who knows? Okay, Not saying that what you're saying is wrong about her. But when you add TV into the equation, things are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, there had to be an agreement done in regards to the time that's being spent. A true person who is in a situation like this, whether it's a guy and two girls, a woman with two husbands, all women, all men, whatever sexuality is a spectrum, live your life the way you want to. There's communication, there's interaction. It's all about inclusion. Just because Lacey is now in the picture, if husband is doing what he's supposed to be doing, date night is supposed to be all of y'all. Date night is supposed to be all three of us, or you two can go because I have to work, or vice versa. It shouldn't make it feel like, well, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays I'm with her, Thursdays, Tuesdays, and Sundays I'm with her.
That's my point. Like, if you're gonna do it together, why you need 3 days? Because you trying to manipulate this woman into thinking that you get 3 or 4 days because you know you want this time alone with her.
And that's why I said that's not a true nature of a polygamous relationship. That is the individual who's having his cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
And then it's on TV. So it may have been a real polygamous relationship, but TV wants to make it entertaining. So let's do this scenario for TV. But if that is the actual rules of their relationship, y'all are giving him too much power.
Exactly.
So that's you allowing this scenario to be done this way. And the fact that Lacey is the one getting all the attention. At the end of the day, and I'm gonna be honest with you, an individual who controls the relationship to that extent, if I was Lacey, I wouldn't get comfortable.
Exactly.
Because we live in the United States. You're not the person that's on the documentation. Therefore, meaning
they had a marriage because do you watch them?
I don't watch it, but you show me a state that legalizes polygamy as what you can get a marriage license.
He
and everything.
went and got a ring, and they did all this little.
You can do all that
stuff,
stuff, but what's at the courthouse?
So that she feels comfortable.
She can feel as comfortable as she wants to. What's at the courthouse?
That's what I'm saying.
So
you going all the way back to my point.
I'm not disagreeing with you. At this point, I'm actually riding with you. Now that we confirm that he's doing all this little extra stuff, that's not a true polygamous relationship.
In my opinion. I really don't.
Okay.
And if you say it's together, because it's not because he talked about somebody wanted to go into production with them and change their narrative and give them money for their show. But before that,
they're just doing this on their own.
They've always been open about that. But my discrepancy comes in my opinion. I'm like, what the heck is this man? I really want to interview him. If y'all listening, I need to interview.
Is he non-melanated?
I don't like to say that, but you need to go on there and watch them.
Send me the link. I'm gonna check it out.
Definitely melanated.
I just said, is he non-melanated?
He definitely is. Melanated.
Are you serious?
Yes.
We create not trying to.
I don't like to make a difference in that. I really don't.
No, I don't
but
either.
My thing is because I don't, like I said, I think it's happening all over the place. But I think that this guy is so smooth for the right type of woman. And that's what I'm going to say. Because noticed, everybody ain't going.
No, because I've noticed. And the reason why I asked that was not because I'm going to say, oh, well, they just like that. I'm saying that because I've noticed that culturally, our peoples do stuff, but we don't do it the right way. I've noticed there's
not a right way to
me. No. I'm not talking about just in general. I'm just talking overall. We'll do stuff, but we won't do it the right way. This is not the first time. There are several there's groups and places where you can go where you can interact with people of whatever lifestyle you want to live. Okay.
A whole bunch of unhappy people. Mm-hmm.
Hold on. They didn't say, look, you judge it.
I am.
Don't judge it. Don't
call me biased in some ways.
And
because
you are allowed to be biased.
And I am.
You are allowed to be biased.
The only thing I'm doing right here and right now is speaking facts. Mm-hmm. Because at one day and age, it was a time where these things didn't happen.
And there was a time where these things were the norm.
There's never a time where it's normal. You just said that.
We have read stories where kings and queens, well, kings more than queens,
were
allowed to have many wives. Okay,
right.
They were allowed to have many wives. They can afford them. They had them, and this is globally. So this is not just me making something up. There was not even America yet when this was the normal.
Okay.
And then we decided, in so many ways, that in today's society, monogamy is probably the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of it because of diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whether it was sexually transmitted or just plague.
Mm-hmm.
We was like, let's find one person. Let's lock down.
Not even that. You're making baby daddies and baby mamas everywhere. And
they didn't care. Kings didn't care. There would be no Jon Snow if we cared. Mm-hmm. I like how you just making me seem like I'm a horrible person.
Okay. I'm listening. I'm sorry. Did you hear me?
Of course. You act like you are not right in my face.
Wait, listen. I'm just saying. It's cool. Because you have your opinion.
No, it's cool. You are allowed. If you, not everybody is built for it. But
I'm not. Let me get this straight. I'm not against the way anybody want to live. Do what you feel.
Right.
Do what you feel. Do what you feel. My thing is, for what reason are you doing it? I mean, are you really being true to yourself? Is that what you? Because me, being who I am, I'm a Leo too, so I guess that don't make it no better. But me, I gotta have everything to myself.
And you are entitled to be selfish.
And I really honestly believe that the spice can still be there.
And it can,
You can
if
travel. You
both
can do.
people
You
put
can,
forth the
it's
effort. Everything is about effort. We have people that live in this world that are free spirited. They have love to give in abundance, but they just don't want to give it to anybody. So they will have a set number of mates, and that is it. It does not go past who they've chosen. The only difference with polygamy that apparently that America sees is sexual gratification. Free love can be anything. It can be communal. It can be emotional. It can be spiritual. It can be financial. We live in a world right now where it costs almost $1,500 to live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
yeah.
Okay.
Work
And
hard.
if
Two jobs.
or worse, and it may not even be a good apartment at that. Okay. So you could be
So
paying.
then we go into a polygamous relationship.
No, hold
because of
on.
that.
Let me hear it. Let me finish.
I'm listening.
So sometimes part of the aspect of a polygamy, you already are intimate with an individual. You already have that emotional connection to this individual. You have an emotional connection with a couple of people. The adding of the finances of the third person sometimes makes life less stressful. Women all the time. Okay, I'm not saying single mothers need to jump in polygamous relationships, but just imagine as you had a man that you love and you had a woman who was like a sister to you, and everybody put into the pot, meaning every aspect of everyday life is collectively handled together.
I'll move one of my kids in or something. Go wash dishes. I'll pay you.
What if you're a woman who can't have kids?
What if you're a woman out here really, really struggling and you really desire to have a really good man? And those are the options out here because there's a shortage in good men.
It's not.
And that's your option. It's going to be hard for people anyway. You're going to have situations where it's hard. Some people really do want to have a relationship where it's just you and them. No
And
cheating, no polygamous relationships,
and they can have
none
it.
of that. But what I'm saying is sometimes men, and I'm not saying this is happening in every polygamous relationship, but sometimes men, they do prey on women that have low self-esteem.
Of course.
And all those aspects that you mentioned come into play. Financial situations and women who, you got some really good, clean, beautiful women out here that may be a single woman, may not have anybody else, moving here from out of town, going to school and fell off track, had a baby by one of these men, or whatever the case is. And this is her option. And that's what disgusts me about it the most. Because when I look at that relationship,
you discussed it at the predatorial nature that can come with it.
Yeah, because I see it. And that's what reminds me and takes me back to Lacey and Jamie. Because Jamie, as a woman, I can identify things that man with her probably don't. Okay. And that's what bothers me the most, because I'm sitting here and I pay attention. Not that I'm so into this thing. What is just some things that bother me when it comes down to, like I said, perspectives of men and women.
Okay.
When we're talking about a polygamous relationship, if everybody is in it and willingly, they all gonna love each other. I will never in my life know how it works. I promise you I won't. Okay. But I'm just saying, this is just from my perspective and my opinion, because I could be wrong because I haven't experienced it.
You haven't experienced it.
But in watching this and seeing somebody put themselves on the forefront and display themselves in front of the whole entire world as being polygamous and we all love each other, I don't see that. And I haven't seen it yet. I don't feel like this man loved both of these women. And I feel like it's like merely impossible for it to be all true. This woman, when I look at Lacey, I do. And every woman pretty much can go for the same thing who's looking for a good man. I want them to treat them right.
Right.
And D them down or whatever else they're looking for, all in one man. Just like men want that in one woman. And I feel like it's possible. I really don't think that that's impossible. But when you start looking outside the box and you need more, then okay, it's not happening for you. That means that it's not happening for you and you're desiring more because you don't have everything that it is that you need at home. That's the problem. When you start looking outside the box, you with somebody you don't need to be with. When I look at Jamie and Lacey, I see that Jamie is just not happy. She wants her husband. She got kids by this man. Lacey don't have kids by him. She's just like, oh my God. I don't want to say what it looked like to me. And if I can dumb it down and keep it on better terms without being offensive, it just seems like the other woman gets to stay at the house forever.
You're not wrong. But that's not the only representation of a polygamous relationship.
If they're not all doing this together.
That is not the only. It's just like saying just how a man and a woman being married and you can find everything you want in a man or a woman. That's not saying that there's not abusive relationships out of there. You're not saying that there's not emotional, empty relationships out there. And there's not saying that there's not financial only gain relationships out of there.
You mean in a polygamous relationship?
No, I'm talking in a regular relationship.
I'm talking about a polygamous
No, I'm getting there. So what I'm basically saying is you can't use the one relationship you see.
I've seen others and they don't look happy.
You can't.
None of them look happy to me. I'm sorry. I have not seen a happy polygamous relationship.
Seen tons of happy relationships. And I'm not saying that it's not bad ones out there because there's bad regular relationships out here.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyday relationships can be ups and downs like crazy no matter what. All I'm saying is people who don't want to live that lifestyle are always the one who are saying that's a bad lifestyle.
But people are in a polygamous relationship and they don't really want it, is what I'm saying.
There are people who are in regular relationships.
I don't think Jamie wants that.
That's on Jamie then.
It's not really on Jamie because you got other people. When I watch them, I watch not only what they're doing and saying, but I also watch the comments. And the comments, I have to see the comments. You know how you watch something like what's going on between what's big right now?
Blueface and his girl.
Blueface. That's that with Blueface and Krishan. What's her name? It's just so crazy. But you have to look at the comments. So you can. That's how you gain more information. But when I look at their comments of Lacey and what is the guy's name? Tell me. Look at. Can you?
I'll look it up. What's the name of the show?
Lacey and Jamie. Wait, I'm trying to think of their names. I hope they all have the same last name. I'm trying to think of the name of the show.
Don't worry.
But the reason why LACEE, the evolution, I think it's the evolution or something like that. But when I look at them as a whole, okay, the way I think about it in my mind is these people get all together and love on each other because this is what a polygamous relationship is. Everybody love each other. So that means these two women in the kitchen cooking, you go by, you got two booties to smack. Pow, pow. You go to sleep. Oh, both of these women right here. Boom, boom. Right?
But you're
right. No, you go grocery shopping. Bam, bam. Let's go grocery shopping. Because this is what I want. Whole polygamous relationship. Everybody boom, boom together, right?
But if you
right,
look, right? No, you're not right.
No, because it's together. What is polygamous?
Because if you look at it, look at the perspective that you just did. Those scenarios, those are benefits for him. The other part of the side of the coin
that's benefits as a whole.
The other side of the coin
for him is that they get to split that week. You get half the week, and you get half the week, and Jamie's half the week is typically with the kids.
That's on them and their agreement. No. He is setting the rules. That's the thing. He is setting the rules.
Which goes back to my point.
He set the rules. His scenario is not a typical polygamous relationship.
What? I'm asking you, what is?
It was all three of them making the decisions together. All three of them input goes into everything.
What is the purpose of a polygamous relationship? Can I ask you that?
Wholeness.
Is that what I just said or no?
Wholeness. You asked me what the purpose was, and I just told you.
Okay, but then you argued the fact that boom, boom, you go to the grocery store together. Boom, boom, everybody doing this and that together.
No,
together. Wholeness. That's.
But you said it from the male's perspective.
No, I'm saying it from the wholeness is everybody, right?
Okay, everybody is happy together.
Right.
That means that nobody in the scenario is feeling less or less than the other one because the other. No matter what, all three people make sure all three people are happy. That's why I said what you're talking about, that is not polygamy. That is one guy having his cake and eating it too. Because if it was wholeness as it should be, Jamie would never feel left out. Jamie's time would not only be with the kids, because the kids would be spread out between both of them. If Lacey is in this family, these her kids too.
Any interaction with the kids.
But that's why I said that's just him.
But you
that
told
is,
me
that is what people do when they want to spice up the relationship. That's not a polygamous relationship. That's just adding someone extra.
Y'all go follow them.
That's the difference. But see, the thing about it is what you're describing of how they just adding someone to spice up the relationship, whether it's the man or the woman that brung the third person in, that's just them trying to make themselves a little bit more happier than they were before. It's not for the whole relationship. It's for them.
Okay, and all in all, right?
But all in all,
if you look at something like Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever show you want to watch, the side chick, whatever, you're gonna have your opinions on whatever, right?
True.
Everybody is. My thing with them is I will hope that they would never get upset with this conversation because we're speaking facts.
True.
I feel like, and I'm going to be honest with you, Jamie don't have a place in that relationship.
If you're describing it the way you're describing it, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Do you remember back in the days, probably our parents' age, where mom and dad would stay together until the kid turns 18 years old, and then all of a sudden they randomly get divorced, and either mom or dad has probably jumped into a relationship within like 3 months before the divorce is over with? Okay. 9 times out of 10, whoever the person that is in a new relationship right away has always been in this relationship. It's either they kept it quiet and private to themselves until the child was grown so they can divorce and move their separate ways. Today's society has changed to the point whereas instead of mom and dad fighting because it's cheaper to stay in relationships in certain cases, mom or dad has just said, fuck it. Just might as well no need to hide it. Just bring it all in here at one time. And that's what's happening with those kinds of relationships. And that's why I have to specify those kind of relationships, because instead of hiding the fact that you've already moved on with somebody else, I'm not going to raise these kids by myself. I'm not going to put you on child support. We just going to stay together. We already got XYZ amount of stuff in the same name. So that's a messy situation all within itself. We're not the richest people in the world where a divorce and splitting and going 2 different ways is financially going to make it good for both of us. No, we'll actually hurt more. At the end of the day, by us divorcing, we're going to hurt the kids more than anything.
Yeah.
So let's just all stay here, live under the same house. You be your happy relationship with Lacey over here, but make sure you still spend time with me and the kids, because on paper, we're still married. And it'll so be it. So unless whoever this guy is writes up a will, and in the will specifically says XYZ amount goes to Lacey, if he keels over tomorrow, don't want to wish death on nobody, everything goes to Jamie, regardless. Also, Lacey can get kicked out in a heartbeat with nothing to show for it.
He got a lust over her.
And it may be
and Jamie
lusty.
is so beautiful. Did you find him?
I did not find him. I'm not saying I'm not looking. I just am not finding them.
Just look up The Evolution on Facebook.
That's The Evolution. That is terrible.
You should hear him talk. You have to follow. There you go. Do y'all know who they are? Who on here know who I'm talking about? Look up these people and comment, because this guy don't know what I'm talking about. And do you believe in polygamous relationships? What's your take on it? Because it is something that disgusts me, and I'm not. I shouldn't even. Let me take that back. Because I shouldn't have said that. It's something that's not for me.
Just say thank you.
It's not for me.
Because you don't want to start your new show and have a whole group of people hating you.
Don't hate me, y'all, because that's not. I'm not gonna say that. I shouldn't say that. It's something I've never experienced. It's something that I don't feel like. The reason why I don't feel like it's for me is because I'm just very territorial. I think that if you for me, That's what it should be. Period. I don't want no more, no less. I don't want no more. But who all know what I'm talking about? And if you do decide that you want to be in a relationship like that, then do you agree that it should be equal all the way around? Should it just be one sided here and then one sided there? Then you have two different relationships going on in the same household. This guy over here seems to think that it will work out perfectly well.
It's not supposed to be two different relationships in the household, though. Everybody has some form of a relationship with each other, which is why it works. The woman, that's why if a true polygamous couple, when they bring or they are now dating, because you go through the whole dating process together. You date, me and you are together, and we are going down this path. I'm not just going to say, hey, babe, she look cute. Let's go get her from the bar. No, we are asking her out on the date. We are courting her together as the same way I courted you. We are both putting forth the effort. So when we're asking this person to come and be a part of our relationship, it was a joint effort. It was a joint idea. We both courted her. So she doesn't feel that she is only here for one reason, or I'm going to spend more time with her than you. Hell, to be honest with you, and I've noticed this in polygamous relationship, the two women kick it more than they do with the dude. They send you go to work. We finna go out here and have girl time.
So that's what I was saying. But see, in this relationship, I see more that I'm sorry, I'm moving around. I'm sorry.
Oh no, girl.
And I see more in this type of relationship. I want to pour my juice.
Girl, if you don't go ahead and drink like a human being, hell, I'm about to get up and get me a water in a minute.
That's what I feel like I'm gonna drink. I feel like in these type of relationships, if the woman ends up having a really good relationship with the other woman or something like that, then that's when you have a relationship where that woman really is into women. Right?
It doesn't always have to be a sexual thing. It could just be that missing sisterhood that you haven't had in a long time. No, for real. Hear me out.
I'm talking about women right now.
Oh, you talking about them getting busy? You talking about them loving on each other?
Because of our nature.
It could be. But is that really a bad thing?
I never said it was a bad thing.
Okay.
I'm saying this. I'm simply saying this. You can go meet somebody right now like you said, at the bar, and you guys is all for polygamous relationships, right? Is that something like you married two women all the time?
Repeat that one more time.
Like when you're out, like say you're with your significant other and you guys don't mind having a third person. Are you always looking for a relationship or somebody that you can bring in as a third wife, or
you shouldn't,
or somebody just to have fun with for a night or something?
You shouldn't. If you are out and about, you are supposed to treat it just like you're out and about normal. Whether you're treating it like me and you are out and we're just having a good time and we just happen to meet somebody and they vibe with us, somewhere in that conversation, we will eventually tell you how we met, how our relationship is. So we're not out here we're on the prowl like men, frat men on a Saturday night. We're not out there doing anything like that. If the vibe is good, we want to hang out with you still. Whether you just become another one of our friends that we're cool with when we go do friend stuff, or you are somebody that we eventually like. We never go out with the intentions of finding somebody else. Those people who do that are swingers or they just looking for somebody to have a good time with.
For a night. They're
never really there for the long term. And I think that's where the misconception also comes at in that type of lifestyle is you have these one-nighters that are out there on the prowl so much because we have so many bisexual women that are into women, but they love a good throwdown. In so many words that they don't want to give that up either. Right. So they'll be okay with just like, okay, me and my man. Yeah, I'm trying not to cuss so much.
I don't want no cussing on my show.
I said
I'm
you
curse, you curse.
I'm just saying.
I'm not cursing.
I want to honor the guests. I want your show to be
listenable for people that don't be cussing.
Right. Not everywhere. Every you don't have to use cuss
just
words
say
to explain
ninja.
That.
I'm all focal.
I haven't even said The N word, yeah. I've been pretty good at avoiding. Look, I am very good at using alternative words.
It's ways around it.
I just like
You
using
just
that
gotta
word.
say it. Yeah,
I just
sometime
like
in it,
using
yeah.
that word. It's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. But yeah, those are the reason why the bad rep for polygamy can't come into play, because you do have so many regular couples who look for a little spill and thrill,
Mhm.
that the ones who are really in a polygamous relationship looking to have that new individual to love on collectively, the misconceptions get told. Then you have shows like this where it just shows a greedy dude being greedy.
But can you tell me a polygamous? Just I gave you an example of what I've experienced, and I've seen others, because that's where I'm going back to where I look at
There
the
is-
comments, because there's other people that say we're in a polygamous relationship, and people express themselves through their comments.
Right.
I haven't seen, even when I go to their page, because I want to see it. I want to see
There, what,
a really
hold
happy.
on, let me find, because here the reason why this is I cannot remember this couple's name. They were on Instagram. I'm gonna see if I can find them. About 2 to 3 years ago, when I first not necessarily got into that lifestyle, but when I started doing this.
You're really into the lifestyle?
I am, but I'm not.
You are.
I'll tell you off camera.
Oh my
Tell you off camera.
Okay.
This is not for them. This is us.
All right.
This is brother sister conversation. Okay. I reached out to a couple to get a little bit more of an understanding,
Mhm.
because the representation that you are seeing with Lacey and Jamie was all that the energy I was getting here.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm like, no, this can't, I don't want this. I don't want that. Like, if that's the case, then, it's $100 for an hour, $150 for an hour and a half. If I'm going to get something out of it in that case. And I didn't want to be that person, because I lose a little bit of myself every time you do that.
Mhm.
So I want to see what an actual healthy situation looks like, because there's level to polygamy.
Mhm.
Like, there's a lot of levels to it, and people don't understand that.
Mhm.
So,
I keep hearing that.
yeah, there's levels to it.
Mhm.
And I wanted to know, like, okay, if this is what I'm willing to deal with or be into, let me find out where my level of comfortability could be at, because I may be out here dealing with people on level 1 or 2, which is why I'm unsatisfied when I'm really supposed to be on 8 or 9.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I did my homework, and they were supposed to come and do some shows with me, but life, and the pandemic hit, and I couldn't, get together with them. But
that would be really nice. I mean, because right now we're going off of opinions things that we're seeing. And I know behind the scenes, it has to be something different, but I can watch this stuff over and over and over again. I have not seen a genuine, really happy relationship with 2 women or 2 men, with 1 woman. It seemed like you're doing it for the thrill of either that man or that woman, but not all 3 are always happy.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's just ridiculous to me.
Because
if you're not happy with me and you feel like you need to bring a 3rd person in, you're gonna move around. Just go.
Just from what I know,
go get you 2.
What I know about you so far, I don't think that anybody would be not happy with you unless they were not happy with themselves.
True.
And the only reason why I say that is you are a very direct person.
Mm-hmm.
You will tell an individual what you like, what you don't like, what makes you happy, and what you feel uncomfortable with. And I feel like an individual who couldn't deal with you would be somebody who would be combative to your no's and your uncomfortabilities. And instead of them trying to find out a way how we can work together, they would be combative with the no's. I feel like that's the only reason why anybody wouldn't be good with you.
But see, and then that's the other end, because everybody have a side to them or something that somebody may not like, which is fine. And that's where I'm going with all of this. You could be in a relationship with somebody, anybody, whatever, whoever can be in a relationship. And as you grow, and this is why this thing just can't work for me, not just because you have to share a person, but because as you grow, you learn people. You learn the things that you'll hate and those things that you will love, and those things grow. How can your scrambled mind self already getting ready to I don't understand how you already trying to get to know one person. Sometimes that takes 10 years.
True.
And then you mix in another person in there. This man already was married to Jamie forever. And then he brought this woman in who he really adored and lusts after. You can tell they have probably really great times together, alone. And then you can tell he's still looking at Jamie like the wife that cook and clean. She make really good foods. The kids really interact with her. He loved that family aspect. Go home and she cook, and those are their days together. Like they go to the grocery store together, but then you can see the difference. And a polygamous relationship to me is not like this is what me and her do, and this is what our relationship is like, and then this is what me and her do, and this. No, it's what you were saying, the wholeness. And it's just so strange to me. And I think that's why he gets so much backlash from people that follow him and from everybody that has a comment or is watching. They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
He definitely is getting a backlash because no matter what his motive going into this was, he's definitely getting backlash from both the community and people on the outside looking in. Because from the community's perspective, you are presenting a bad representation of what this is, to the point that me and you have sat here for 45 minutes and actually had a pretty decent debate over the fact that ninjas got a ninja.
But you still can't say what a good polygamous relationship. Like you still can't get really descriptive. And I'm being honest, because you said you're into it, which always goes back to that aspect that we said is not important.
It's an off-camera conversation.
I know, but what you're saying is, and then I think that it can be an on-camera conversation.
Just not today.
No, just being descriptive,
right.
not personally, not has nothing to do with you. I'm saying you said you've seen it. Where? And what does it look like?
It looks healthy and it looks happy. Okay. One, it was a male, female. It was 2 females, 1 male. Okay. The reason why I said it looked happy was because he did not treat them as you're here and you're here. He treated them both equally. Their opinions, their expressions, their wants, their needs, their desires mattered, and they came first. Okay. What I mean by that is you said something earlier, whereas it's happy wife, happy life, right? Mm-hmm. Let's modify that. Mm-hmm. Happy spouse, happy house. Okay. And the reason being is because the man's happiness matters just as much as the woman's. Mm-hmm. But we tend to always put the woman's first because she's actually the backbone of most situations. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's happy wife, happy spouse. Plus, we live in a world where a wife could be a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So we got to change that narrative. Yeah. Too. But the thing about his particular relationship, and the reason why I valued his input when he would say stuff, was no matter what, he made sure that his women were always happy and taken care of. If one woman wanted something specific, he made sure she got what she wanted, whether it was in the household, in the relationship, or just even her me time. All 3 of them had kids from previous relationships. Okay. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them treated all the kids as if they were their kids. Mm-hmm. Her kid is no different than her kids, which is no different than his kids. These are our kids. Vocabulary was never mine's, me, what. It was always ours and we. Okay. Every time we decide to do this, we're going here. The women had a connection too. And it wasn't a sexual connection. It was, we are 2 women who are responsible for making sure this household stays in order. They kept an open level of communication with each other about everything. So if Lil Dante was acting up and woman 1 was, this is woman 1's kid, but woman 2 is the one that caught it. Woman 2 got on the phone with woman 1. what we gonna do about Dante because he did A, B, C, D.
Mm-hmm.
It was a clean communication across the board. And when little Dante was in trouble, you know what the conversation was? When your dad get home. Dante is not his son. But because they are a unit, Dante is his son. When it came to being the man of the house, they let him be the man of the house. They properly, collectively together submitted to the situation.
Oh, this is disgusting.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to do what I say.
It just seems so. Can I say dominant?
Isn't most relationships a dominant, submissive kind of scenario? When you think about it?
No. Because if you're saying what's equal and you're talking about no. It's not equal then.
It is equal.
Because, you know, when you start saying feeling like a man and making me feel like a man and everything, and everybody's working towards the same goal.
Which they are.
You know, and I think that's where it get all misconstrued. And I think that's one of the things that I probably disagree with polygamy, because I feel like the man has this certain authoritative mindset to where this is what needs to happen in my house.
No.
You know, and it's a little bit intimidating when it comes down to, like I said, some women that just want love. You know, it doesn't seem.
I get that, but what does this scenario look so different than in a regular relationship? Because isn't a regular one man, one woman relationship built that eventually the man is the head of the household and they work in unison together, but the man is the one that governs over the household?
Not when it's two women.
Is it?
Just change the narrative a little bit.
Not really, though.
Do you see the same relationships lasting the same if it was just the man and the woman? Do you think the length of a relationship would be the same?
With today's scenario, actually, I've seen polygamous relationships last longer. Because you have to remember.
You got to give me at least one.
No. Check it out. What's the number one reason why most relationships end?
Cheating.
Exactly. Who's cheating in a polygamous relationship?
It still can be some cheating.
Who's cheating?
If you are all three together, it doesn't mean that he still or she still can't. I think Jamie
has 3 days to herself. Of course, she getting dick somewhere
That's what
else.
I'm saying.
But that's because
something else got to be happening, and that's when all of this other stuff starts. That's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing. If everybody is working in unison, working together as one, that's the phrase we both said, right?
Mm-hmm.
A healthy relationship be all working in one. You shouldn't want to step out. If your man, now hear me out. If your man is handling his business, not just in the bedroom, because I've seen y'all deal with subpar in the bedroom, but because he's handling his business and everything else that you need your man to do, there is not a single man outside that door, no matter what he may possess, that will make you step out on your man. Am I correct?
That's where my mind gets scrambled. Because
but why,
if that's happening,
but why do you
at
feel
home anyway? Why do you need a third person?
How is that stepping? Because this is a choice that you and this is the choice that you and your mate chose together.
No.
I think that's where
and
I think that's where you're being stuck at, because in the scenario you're using, the husband went and got Lacey on his own.
I know he did.
Okay. He went and got Lacey on his own. Now, whatever conversation him and Jamie had that made her agree to him being here, that is what you're stuck on. A true polygamous relationship, we're together in this. We're making this decision together. It is not just I seen a bad bitch at the bar last night. I think we should bring her home. No, it's not even. It's like, hey, babe, I met this woman who's a great vibe. It's like, oh, what's her name? I want to go meet her. Well, here's her number. And then she calls. They talk. They get to know each other. They become best friends. It's not like we date for 2 times. It's like, well, we want you to be part. No, It is a process. You don't come in here and be a part of this house and to just right away. We have to court you like I court anybody else. We have to court you.
Because see, if it was like that, where in a relationship with me, and I can just see myself like, because I just have to have all the attention. So we come home from work, I'm laying in the bed, maybe reading or watching TV or whatever the case, and I'm going to want attention. Maybe that person next to me is going to want attention. I can see myself just like elbowing you dead in your nose or something.
What if
like
I
you're
told
not
you,
about to be over here?
But what if I told
That's
you that?
not.
Hold on. What if I told you that if, let's say, you were in a polygamous relationship, because we've done our proper due diligence collectively of getting to know each other collectively, I guarantee you that those two other people would know right away, because you come home, you're going to want attention. You're going to get smothered by attention. You're going to get attention from him. You're going to get attention from her. At the end of the day, they know that your need for attention as a Leo must be satisfied before anything is done within that household that day from you, especially if you just got off of work. They already know this. They learned you just like if you was just only a husband. The difference is one, you are a selfish human being when it comes to your mate.
And I think a lot of people are.
And those are the people who would not be a part of this lifestyle. Plain and simple.
But my point is,
the problem is you have people who do not know how to say no.
Right.
If you
now you're talking.
Okay.
Okay.
That's at the end of the day, you have people who do not know how to say no. Because here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. Prime example. I could go to my kid's mom and says, hey, I'm thinking about, maybe we should bring somebody in. No. Story done.
Smacked. No, bye.
End the story. Okay. I'm not going to fight it anymore, because if you are the person I want to be with, and even though I'm down with this lifestyle, if I'm not going to be in this lifestyle with you, I don't want it at the moment. I'm willing to say, okay, I'm not going to be out here yearning for another wife. Let's be honest here. May not want one when I think about it, because y'all crazy at times. But if she says, let's see, but we both got to go find the person, then we'll go see. It has to be a combination. I'm not going to say, well, babe, I think we should add a third to the house. Okay. And then all of a sudden I open the door. Well, here's Missy. And no, but that's what these gentlemen are doing. They're showing up with a selection already picked because they don't want to cheat on their person. So it's like, hey, well, let's just introduce it. No. That's what this dude did in so many words.
You're going to find him before you, so you can see. I need you to. But I just going back to my point before we wrap up, I just wanted to say that, and that's why I asked you for some examples, because I don't know why I watched that show, and I don't know why it gains
it piques your interest.
It does. It really does. I take some interest to that for a specific reason. I think it's more because I don't understand it. And no matter how many times I watch it, I don't understand it, because I know that this woman wants her husband. Bottom line.
But my question is, what is she doing to get her husband?
I don't think he's going to get satisfied just by her. I think it's more him.
And then she needs to express her unhappiness and create an exit plan. At the end of the day, as much as you are fearful of being alone,
exit plans are very important.
You have to create an exit plan.
They are very important.
I'm going to make a small confession. Me and my kid's mom have always had this one issue. It's not even been an issue. It's just how she was raised. And it always bothered me. Everything that we've ever done when we are together, she has always done it from a level of independency. Whereas I pay these bills, you pay these bills. I buy these things, you buy these things. When I go get stuff for the kids, you go get stuff for the kids. Having a joint account even though we did it one time when we were super young, where of course mistakes are going to be made because you're just learning finances, she never wanted to do a joint account again. When it comes to getting items that are conducive to the family, it was hers are here, yours are there. So she's always created separation, even in togetherness. Okay.
That's trust.
It is a trust issue. It's a family rooted trust issue. I've always known that. It's always been a family rooted trust issue.
Is there something she can't trust you about since you're talking about it?
The only thing that she had against me was I'm a risk taker. But I'm also smart enough to say, if I bring home $5,000 a check, how much are the total bills? Here's $2,000 into this checking account. Do what you need with that. My $3,000 is whatever I plan to do with it. So I will always make sure this is taken care of. Mm-hmm. But instead of her saying, well, let me put my name on this account too, she would just take my other debit card. So there's no together, even though we're doing it all together. That was the biggest issue I always had with her in regards to that.
Why is that an issue?
If we're together, we're raising kids together, we're managing a household together, we're doing everything together, we're communicating together, why is the financial separated?
Are you married?
Non-disclosure on this show. But
that would answer your question.
Let's say we were the whole time.
If you were the whole time, there's married couples that do that. But I just asked because if you're not, then that would explain why she probably don't want to go that far. Not that you wouldn't be with her, but I'm gonna tell you something about men that us women see that we just can't put together.
Okay.
Even like with the polygamous relationships and everything, it's just consistency and being truthful. And I think that men have this notion that they need more than what they have instead of putting their all into, one day you ninjas gonna have to need help with healthcare and, and you might get sick and different things like that. And you just don't mind causing bad blood with that woman. And my thing is, at the end of the day, and it can happen either way, but I feel like you live one time, and at the end of the day, treat people right or don't be with them.
So let me ask you a question. What if in this scenario, I never did nothing wrong to her? What if this was her mentality from the jump?
If you are together this long and you are not married, that's something wrong.
Okay, first of all, I would not be with anybody more than 3 to 4 years if the idea of marriage was not only on the table, but already discussed.
Well, I'm just saying.
I understand, but it's overall.
All I'm saying is, I'm answering your question from my perspective. I feel like women need security, and we need to have full security. We don't need no half-stepping brother. I can't say the words I want to say, but we don't need no half-stepping. It's about that time. I'm just saying we need full consistency, and sometimes we can be out, we can be with our man. Sometimes I see it happening with me, men with their wives, and they side eyeing like, boy, eat your food and look over there. And sometimes
y'all
they just have to
at the same time.
No, we don't. Us women do not side eye. We don't cheat. We don't do none of that. We don't do none of that. We don't do.
Thank you for tuning into this particular episode of Chatty Queens Brunch, because we just gone down a whole path of lying, and that is not what this show is about.
Okay, let me say this.
But no, for real, we do need to start wrapping up.
No, but let me just say this. Let me say this. If women, I honestly believe, and I could be wrong, if women cheating, it's because of something the man is doing. And it is very true, because women are so loyal, and I'm saying we very territorial, and we would much rather have everything right there at home and at our access.
Go ahead and cut your live off so we can talk.
If it ain't happy wife, happy life, then maybe you might be stepping out. I'm just gonna say that.
Go ahead
you asked the question. You asked the question. If things ain't right from the beginning,
go ahead and cut your live off.
if things ain't right from the beginning, it's simply because it's something that man ain't doing right. Period.
Go ahead and cut your live.
And half the time we've told you over and 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 over again what you're doing wrong. I can guarantee you that. I can put money on that. It's something that we don't like that we keep asking. It's something that we don't like that we keep asking you not to do, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And you turn around and wonder why we act the way we do or we feel the way we do. It's because there's no consistency and there's something that you're doing wrong. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Read the Bible. I'll put my hand on the Bible and be true. Now he ready to wrap the show up because I'm talking.
No, it's time wise.
It's time.
Excuse me, man. Look how long we've been talking.
There will be a part 2 to this.
This is a series between us. This is a series at this point. Okay.
I want the next show to be about church folks, but we ain't gonna go there because we need to continue with this conversation.
Why do you want to? Okay.
There's definitely a part 2 to this because
it don't have to happen
there's a lot needs to be said, and I have someone joining us next week. And he has his perspective, so I got to bring my back up. So it don't even matter. We're going to get this out. We're going to get it out the right way, and maybe we'll have Lacey and them reaching out to us by then, so we'll get a better understanding, and help clear some of this up. Thanks for joining Chatty Queens Brunch Club. This was fun.
It was. Bye.